Hey guys, this is Coach K, your relationship expert, also known as Kimberly Marable Winters. I wanted to take the time to officially invite you guys to Coach K's Corner, tell you about Coach K's Corner, tell you a little bit about who I am and why I am passionate about getting to know you, allowing you to get to know me, why I'm passionate about guiding, educating, motivating, and supporting people through change. Change is hard. I know because I've had to do it, but change is very hard. But nonetheless, you can do it. So originally, I'm from a very small but historic town called Tuskegee, Alabama. I grew up there. I eventually ended up in Birmingham to go to school. I went to undergraduate school at UAB, and I got a undergrad in psychology with a minor in social work. I got a master's in counseling with a specialty in rehabilitation. And then later on, I started working, and eventually I went back and got my MBA, a Master's in Business Administration from the University of North Alabama in Florence. It was a great experience. Through that process, I've gained a lot of certificates. Um, I'm certified in a whole lot of things. I am a licensed professional counselor, and all that's great. But it wasn't so much the education that got me motivated to begin Coach K's Corner. Okay. It was more about my trials, my struggles, experiences that I've had where I had to learn how to have a healthy relationship with God, how I had to learn to have a healthy relationship with myself, and how I had to learn to have healthy relationships with people. And I refuse to believe that the hell I went through for 7 years, um, that the hell I went through was for nothing. And I made a decision to come out of that and say that I was going to help other women, men too, if it fits, but help other women learn how to have healthy relationships, right? We know research has proven that having healthy relationships actually prolongs your life. So if healthy relationships prolong your life, guess what unhealthy relationships will do? Okay. Just the opposite. I believe that I am also here to use my gifts to educate, guide, motivate, and support people through change, people who are willing and ready for change. I can recall when I was in this um, relationship, knowing that it was time to get out, but not being able to get out. Um, and then one day I said, Lord, I'm ready. I'm ready to leave, but I need help. And God, being the faithful God that He is to me, just as He is to you, because He's no respect of persons, um, He put the resources in place to help me do just that. I am forever grateful for that. So, because of that, I kind of began this journey around 2019, the journey being Coach K's Corner around 2019. And then we all know what happened in 2020. I mean, my goodness, it started off bad. You know, Kobe died. Let's just put that on the table first. And that was absolutely horrific. Um, then, we had the Hornets come, the killer Hornets came. And then, we had the storms came across the Pacific. Um, and that was horrific. I mean, came across the Atlantic, and that was horrific. Um, and then we can't get through 2020 without talking about all of the social injustices that literally traumatized people. A licensed therapist. I cannot I can't begin to tell you how traumatized I was watching people pass away in front of my eyes on social media. And I have tools. I know tools how to handle it, but I can only imagine what that was like for people who did not have tools watching these types of traumatic experiences. I can only imagine. So 2020, it came with a right, a left, an uppercut, and it didn't play with us. But the point I'm trying to make is that all of that was already happening on top of whatever it was you had going on in your life. Okay. COVID came, the hornets came, the dust came, people died, Kobe Gianni, uh, Gianna died, Lewis died, members in our society were being beaten and killed unjustly. So all, not to mention the divorce you were already going through, the children that didn't know how to behave, the helping out with the sport, you the team mom, you booster leader, you are the head of your household, you're a single parent. That was just your life before all these things came and added to the stress of it, right? So quite frankly, I thought, wow, we probably should get Coach K's corner back going because you guys need some support. You need some support. And I wanted to know how you were doing, how you were doing out there. How are you handling all this? How are you handling life when it was just life on life's terms? And then all these other things got added to it. So that's absolutely a lot. One thing that I've learned from the relationship that I experienced, one thing that I've learned from 2020 is the thing that you've heard me preach. If you've seen any of the videos that I've been talking about, you've heard me say this over and over and over again. And that is that the foundation, meaning your ability to not waver, your ability to stay grounded, your ability to manage your response to your environment, whatever's happening in your environment, is going to come. It's going to begin with your foundation with the Lord. When I was in this relationship with this gentleman, um, it was also during a time in my early 20s, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. That was very scary for me. At the time, my sister was here. She was in pharmacy school. And I love her dearly because she really put up with a lot. I mean, she would get the late calls because I was throwing up bile and couldn't stop. And I needed to go to the emergency room. Um, I can distinctly remember one time I called, she came and got me, and she took me to UAB emergency room. And I remember her saying, you know, Kim, I have to go. I wasn't mad. I totally understood because she had a test. She had tests coming up the next day. She came, she left me there. Well, you know, not left me there like that, but she brought me to care. She did what she was supposed to do. And I can remember looking out the door, seeing her walk out the door, and I'm in and out of consciousness at this point, not really all there. And I hear the tech, the guy that's working on me, go, uh-oh. Now, so who's been in the hospital before? But what you don't want to hear when you are laying on a stretcher is uh-oh. So as the man says, uh-oh, I look down and I see blood spewing up out of my arm. At that point, I fainted. Wasn't really need for me to stay awake any longer because I couldn't handle anything else. Needless to say, my sister, I don't know how many hours passed. She came back, picked me up. It was great. I went home, got some rest, so forth and so on. It was a long process of me trying to figure out what was wrong with me. She was there every step of the way to take me to the doctor to find out what was wrong with me. I was smart. At the same time, this is when I also, coming out of that, I also get caught up with Satan. At that time, I had two surgeries to save my life. I had gone into the hospital. They had to do reconstructive surgery. Wake up thinking I can go home, and my doctor tells me if I leave, he can't promise I'm gonna make it back, and if I do make it back, he can't promise I'll make it through surgery. So I get to this abusive relationship post that. I was still having to go to the doctor. I was still having a lot of procedures done because my stomach would close up on me. Um, but in this particular relationship, between the habitual cheating, which I tell you, if you are in a relationship and there's habitual cheating, you need to leave. That's emotional abuse. Okay. Um, between the habitual cheating, between the telling me you're ugly, you're fat. Now I'm almost 6 feet. Anybody who's met me, I'm almost 6 feet. And at the time that he's telling me I'm fat, I'm ugly, nobody's ever gonna love you. You're never gonna be able to be somebody's wife. I was probably anywhere maybe 130, 135 pounds, anywhere from about a size 4, 6, maybe a 8, but I was fat. And the thing about abuse, if you don't know, is that nobody comes in just beating you over the head, right? Because you leave immediately. Nobody does that. The thing about abuse, particularly verbal, emotional abuse, is it starts out really slow. And eventually you come to believe things that people are telling you. You come to believe it because you're really trying to make sense out of how did I get here? How did I get here? I'm an educated woman. Not to say that I have an educated woman. I'm just saying this. I'm looking at my life and I'm saying, I have a lot going for me. How in the world did I get myself in this situation? When it comes to Coach K's Corner, that's my mission. There are so many women who are like me, who were like me, who really want to have a healthy relationship, on a meaningful, healthy relationship. And I'm here to tell you that you can have it, but there has to be some order. It has to be some things put in place in your life for you to be able to have that. And that's what I want to help you find. That's what I want to help you put in place. I want to help you heal from your past. You don't want to take baggage. You don't want to take baggage into a new relationship. Okay, that's not going to help you either. So through the education that I've had, and through more so through the experiences that I've had in that relationship, I can remember the relationship before him. And the guy before him is the one that I was with when I actually had the surgery. I can remember waking up in my room after that second surgery with my sister on the phone with this guy who lived in Atlanta. I lived in Birmingham. And she was telling him what had happened because basically they just had surgery to save my life. And she's on the phone arguing with him about, are you coming to see her? And he said he didn't have any gas money. Okay. These are the people that I put my worth in. I put my worth in their hands. Don't ever do that. Do not put your worth in somebody else's hands. Do not put your worth in someone else's hands. Okay. It's almost like you are giving, you only give yourself permission to believe that you are lovely, okay, pretty, smart, sexy, gorgeous, talented, capable, adequate, more than enough. You only give yourself permission to believe that if somebody else tells you that first or confirms that for you first. I need you to stop that immediately. That's one of the biggest That's just not true. Because you had to believe it first. That's when things got realigned. You had to believe that. That's nobody else's job. It is nobody else's job to convince you that you are special, that you are lovely, that you are smart, wonderful, gorgeous. I don't care what shade your skin is, what your hair looks like, what kind of education you have or don't have, where you work, where you don't work, what kind of car you drive, what kind of car you don't drive, how many children you have. It is nobody's job to tell you what your worth is like but you. You have to own it. When I began to own it, that's when things began to change, if that makes sense. Okay. When I began to own it, that's when things change. God is faithful. He is absolutely faithful. He is faithful to me. And he's proven that. He proved himself to me, one, by saving my life. This thing I have about grounding yourself in your relationship with God, your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with other people, that came by trial and error. There were pieces of my life I gave to him being God. There are pieces of my life that I gave to him. And then there are pieces that I say, oh, no, 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 Lord, I got that. I got that. So I could say it started with my health because my health was the first thing that I had absolutely no control of, and it was being taken away from me. Okay, Satan was robbing me of my health. Okay, and there was nothing I could do about it. I can't remember laying in the bed saying, "Okay, okay, God, um, you got me," and it wasn't a bad "you got me," but it was a "you got me." Tag joke on me, right? Jokes on me. And I totally surrender. I surrender my life, and I'm gonna be totally at peace, and I'm gonna put my life in your hands, and I'm gonna see you on the other side when I wake up. I remember telling my doctors, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not. I won't be. I won't ever be in here with this again. I was in the hospital almost 2 weeks. Do y'all know? Excuse me. Y'all know how lonely it was to look out of the window and see life going on and you couldn't be a part of it. That was hard. At any rate, that's when I handed over that part. Okay. Later on in life, I guess the next thing I learned to hand over to the Lord was about my money. Me not trying to control my money, me not thinking that it's in me. Um, there are laws and principles that operate. I'm a Christian. Let me say that. Um, and if you're not, that's okay, because spirituality is something that you develop and it encompasses you understanding your purpose, your mission, your vision, right? All that spirituality. But a part of my spirituality is Christianity. And I can tell you that one of the next things I handed over to the Lord was my money. And in Christianity, there are principles about your money. And tithing is one of those principles, tithing and offering. And I stood on a scripture that says, test me. See if I will not open up the windows of heaven. You will not have room enough to receive from him. Okay, that's summarization. But that's what I dug as they say, dug my toenails into. And I held on to that thing. And that has been about, what, 2 or 3 years ago. I am now in full-time practice. I have a practice in Tuscaloosa, a practice in Birmingham. There is no way you could have told me 5 years ago that I would be sustained as an entrepreneur, having my own business. Totally a total faith walk. This took steps, but again, this is pieces that I was handing over. Uh, the relationship was in between all that, handed it over. Lord, I'm not going to pick on my will. Okay. I'm not going to let my flesh choose a long term situation for me. Does that make sense? I'm not going to let my flesh choose a long term situation for me. This whole battle in between, when I start talking about this relationship with yourself, came because, let me check my time, because there was a time where I treated myself absolutely horribly. Absolutely horribly. I didn't make good decisions about who I chose to spend my time with. This is before saving. Didn't make good decisions about who I chose to spend my time with. Um, didn't make good decisions about how to keep myself safe with these people. Put myself in a lot of vulnerable and compromised positions, and I got hurt. Um, this does not have to happen to you. So slowly again, I began to say, okay, I need a leadership. I need a high power. I need leadership from greater than myself, because trusting me and my decisions keeps getting me here. I keep running around in Egypt, getting hurt. I'm getting soccer punched, right? And how is it that I'm not capable of making better decisions for myself? These are honest questions that I had to think about. These are honest questions that I had to think about and that I had to own. I had to own my life. I had to own my mistakes. I had to own my poor judgment. I had to own me not taking good enough care of myself. That was hard. There's a lot of stuff I had to admit, right? Um, but once I did that, then I had a choice to make. I had a choice to make, right? I do want to share, uh, again, let me check my time. I do want to share. There's some things that I learned. This I also came up with a few of Coach K's principles, about 20 plus something principles that we'll talk about over time. But here are six things you need to remember when you are thinking about having a relationship. If you're in a relationship, and that relationship hurts. Number one, God, the God of your understanding, your spirituality, your faith must be first. Must be first. Number two, accept responsibility for your life and your emotions. Whatever has happened to you, whatever baggage is there, guess whose baggage it is? It's yours. And guess whose feelings are there as a result of that baggage? Those are your feelings. So you can't continue to blame somebody from your past for your present, because it's your present and you have a choice to do something about it. Number three, that I said earlier, don't put your value in somebody else's hands. Do not put your value in somebody else's hands. Number four, do not stay in a relationship that you know isn't working out of fear. I did end it horribly. Do not stay in a relationship out of fear. Number five, trust is earned. Trust is earned. And if someone isn't earning your trust, why are you continuing to give them chances to let you down? Number six, do not fall in love with love, because love does not love you. Being in love with love will have you getting abused, used, and or sacrificed. Okay. So again, we have spent this the month of February. That's kind of what we focused on. Okay. And I keep coming back to that's the foundation. Life lessons that I've learned. I want to share them with you. I want to help guide, educate, and motivate you and support you as you learn healthier relationships, as you learn to work through codependency, as you learn to address anxiety, as you learn to create a life of wellness and self care, right? I will have, if you stay tuned to CoachKCorner.com, corner with a K, CoachKCorner.com, you can stay abreast of videos and upcoming support groups. and webinars. I'm sorry, webinars and upcoming support groups. I would recommend that you attend a webinar before you attend the support. But the schedule will be on CoachKcorner.com. They will be updated. I would say at least weekly, so you can see other groups and other webinars. So if you missed this one, maybe you can plan to be in the next one. The first set of webinars, I believe, is April 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 17th. We will be doing Facebook Live on Mondays and Wednesdays every day this month. The first 2 weeks, it will be Mondays at 6, Wednesday at 7 in the morning. Next week, it will be the same. So stay tuned. I hope you join me. Please feel free to go to CoachKcorner.com and ask me questions about relationships so that I can use this platform to answer those questions. You can get to know me. I can get to know more about you. Um, yeah, I think that's it. So share, comment, and I look forward to you joining me in the corner. Have a good evening.